I would have to say it was a fire on Louise between 12th and Locke Cabin. And the ironic thing about the fire was I knew the house because as a kid, my best friend grew up in this house. And it was Thanksgiving night, right about midnight. We had an extra man on the squad that night. He was riding 5 on the squad. It was me, Sam Locke, he was in charge, he was the lieutenant. JD was driving, Thornhill, who's passed away, and Pat Gordon. We were all riding the squad that night. And when we turned the corner off Locke Cabin on the Louise, you could see people running back and forth across the street. That's usually a good indicator that something's going on before we can see it. And we pulled up, and it was house, it was on fire, it was going good. And there was a lady on the porch screaming, you know, my baby, my baby. And so by JD driving, he had jumped off and ran up on the porch, got the lady off the porch. And he crawled inside, and he found this guy, he was naked in the living room. He was overcome, passed out, collapsed. JD drug him outside. And when JD drug him outside, Thornhill and Pat Gordon went in. And JD had turned around and went back in, but he wasn't fully dressed. And so that little pause was, it was 2 guys in and me and the lieutenant outside. So when the lieutenant told JD to get out the way and go get dressed, me and Sam Locke, which was the lieutenant, went in. I'm the only one who knew the layout of the house. And so when we got to the dining room, I saw where the bedrooms were, but it was totally involved in fire. But I only knew there was one other door, that was to the kitchen. But now I don't see Thornhill or Pat Gordon. And both entrances, both doorways are fully involved. So Lieutenant Locke said, we got to get out of here, it's about to flash. So me and him turned around and started crawling back towards the front door. And it flashed, it blew us out the front porch, on the front porch. And just as I landed on the front porch, you know, the flames started rolling out the front door, all up over on the porch. And the Louis telling me, get off the porch, get off the porch. And JD said, Tiny, where's Thorn? And JD said, I couldn't say a word. He said, all I did was turn and look at the house. And he was like, you gotta be kidding me, they still in there? There's flames coming out every door and window. Went around to the back, there's armor bar, there's bars everywhere. We don't know where they at. The engine pulls up, engine 51 stretched, and they had 3 bad hydrants. So it's just a long time before we get in water. And all we know is Thornhill and Pat Gordon is still in this house. And it was so hot that when EMS got on the scene, they couldn't even go in the yard to get the naked guy out. They actually pulled up the bottom of the fence and reached under the fence and just drug him under the fence because it was that hot. And by the time Engine 40s got on the scene, we can hear them coming, but they were lost. By the time they got on the scene, and Sam Locke, I remember vividly, he was standing in the middle of the street, and he, you know, stop. He hit the windshield of the engine. Stop, I got men in there, stretch, I want water right now. And we pulled off the pre-connects, and just so happened Engine 40 at the time had 1,000 gallons of water. We pulled off the pre-connects and went in, working hard, feverishly, screaming. And I can hear JD screaming, Thorn, Thorn. And I remember saying, I don't know why he calling him, we about to find 2 bodies burnt up. And all I could think about was his wife and kids, that they at home. He lived on Piccadilly off of 8 Mile. And I could just picture his house, Thornhill house, and I can imagine that his wife and kids is at home right now in the bed asleep, and he over in his house burnt up. And it was emotional. It was bananas, and everybody screaming. And the next thing you know, I hear Thornhill go, here I am, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. You know, we grabbed them, we ran outside. They were steaming like hot dogs, him and Pat Gordon both. And I thought they were dead, but they weren't. They hid in the basement. And it started getting hotter and hotter, and they tried to go out the back door. They said the doorknob fell off, but they assumed that we would be coming in any second with water. But we had bad hydrant after bad hydrant, and so that's why it just got so intense. And I think that fire changed me. See, because before then we were cowboys. You know, we kick in the door, we running upstairs. You know, it was carelessness. But that's why we were raised on the job. And And that fire changed me. I think that fire is the one that said, you know what, you could really die. Because before then, I thought you couldn't die doing this job. And that one, you could. That's when I found out you actually could. So ever since that fire, you know, I've been taking it, you know, more serious.